So you're in your 40s and 50s and you've paid into a pension for years and maybe a good one, but are you on track to actually retire when you want to? Or are you just hoping it'll be enough? Here's the things: on track isn't a feeling, and hope is not a plan. Hope is the absence of a plan and it will trip you up. What I can give you is 5 honest checks. Be straight with yourself, and in 5 minutes, you'll know exactly where you stand. Don't cheat, don't skip, it's only hurting yourself. Let's do them. Quick bit of context before we get into this. I'm a qualified and FCA regulated financial advisor. I do this for real people every single day. So you're getting the straight version. Because I'm regulated, everything here is general information, not personal advice. One of the cruelest and most brutal components of financial planning is not taking your retirement planning seriously and then finding out too late how important it actually is. The earlier you start, the better, and the easier the journey is. If you start 20, you're in for one smooth ride. At 50, almost anything is fixable. You've got time, contributions, and growth, and they're all on your side. These are the levers available to you. If you know you need more capital in retirement, you can pull one of these levers, say up your contributions, and it will increase your output. It might take a lot of pain, it might take a lot of sacrifice, but anything worth pursuing does. At 66, most of these levers have already gone. You don't have time to stomach volatility in the market, for instance, or up your contributions in any meaningful way. You don't have time to work 20 more years. You have locked in your standard of living. The same problem that was a minor problem at 50 is now a crisis at the finish line. These 5 checks take minutes. Skipping them can cost you years of working longer than you needed to, so let's just not skip them. Check one: do you know your number? A good way to calculate it is annual spend times 25. Roughly, ballpark in it. If you don't have that figure, pause this video and get it, because you cannot measure progress against a target that does not exist. If you spend 40,000 a year, your number becomes a million. If you spend 25,000, it's 625 grand. Very different lives, very different targets. Everything in this video is measured against this one number, so start here. Do not judge this number off what you spend in your work life. This is a completely different life. You no longer have to commute. You might have a fully paid off mortgage. Your kids are independent. Get a pen and a piece of paper, or even a spreadsheet. Hell, if you comment below, I will create a spreadsheet to help you. And don't borrow someone else's number off the internet. There's a lot of rumor that says 1 million is the number needed in retirement. A good life costs wildly different amounts depending on where you live, whether the mortgage is gone, and what you actually enjoy. Yours, it's your number. Know it, own it. Check two: what is your pot projected to be at the age you actually want to stop? Not in today's balance, the projection. This trips almost everyone up. They look at today's number, they feel behind, they panic. But here's the thing: invested money roughly doubles about every 15 years at a typical growth rate before you've even added a penny more. So 200,000 at 50, still growing and still being paid into, can be a very different number at 60. Judge yourself on where your pot is heading, not where it is today. That's the figure that actually decides your retirement. And if projecting feels a bit technical, relax. Most pension providers and plenty of free tools online will do it for you in a couple of clicks. You put in your age, your pot, and what you're paying, and it shows you the figure at the age you want to stop. No spreadsheet required. Check three is the big one: the gap. Your projected pot set against your number. This is the number we need to focus on, but we can't arrive at it without doing step one and two. If your step two number beats your step one number, you're on track, and you can almost stop worrying. You can start considering luxuries or look at leaving your children a bit. If you fall short, that shortfall is your gap, and your entire job is to close it. This single comparison tells you more than any pension statement ever will. And it turns a vague nagging anxiety into one concrete figure you can actually do something about. That alone is worth the 5 minutes. One tip when you run it: be a little cautious with your growth. If the plan still works with careful numbers, you can trust it. If it only works on optimistic ones, you've just found something to fix while there's still time. Check four, and this is the good news: you've got some guaranteed income because you have to fund everything from your own pot. The state pension is around 12.5 grand a year for life, and it rises with inflation. Add any DB or final salary pension on top of that, and it's a bonus. And don't forget you have a partner. Two full state pensions together are around 25 grand. Guaranteed. That's the equivalent of a very large pot you've never had to build. Count all of that in first, and the gap you actually have to close with your own savings shrinks dramatically. And I see people forget their own final salary pensions all the time. They panic, they think they're miles behind, they've just forgot what they've got left. Check five: are you actually saving enough to close that gap? No one gets a good retirement without an element of sacrifice. It is putting away today for tomorrow. A rough guide: many people in the run up need to be putting 15% or more of their income into pensions. If you're behind, it's higher. But here's the encouraging part: Every extra pound you put in near retirement gets boosted by tax relief and often by employer match before it's even invested. So a 40% taxpayer putting in an extra £100 might only feel 60 quid lighter. The system is on your side if you use it. And if 15% feels out of reach now, don't let that stop you. Whatever you can add to boost from tax relief and any employer match means it punches well above its weight. So let me make this real with a couple of examples. I've made up the people, but the maths is exactly how it works. Take Karen, she's 55, she's single, and she wants £30,000 a year in retirement. So her number on paper is 30,000 times 25, 750k. Her pension pot is projected to reach 480k by the time she's 60. Put those two figures side by side, and it screams a gap of 270 grand. That's the number that keeps her up at night. Now, the honest version. Karen will get the full state pension, around 12.5 grand, paid for life. That's income she never has to fund herself. In pot terms, that's the equivalent of over 300k. She's also got an old final salary pension from a job in her 30s, 4,000 a year, another 100k equivalent. So the target that's come from our own pot isn't 750 grand, it's her 30,000 minus 16,500 of guaranteed income times 25, about 340 grand. Her pot's projected at 480. Karen isn't £270,000 short, she's over £100,000 ahead. She didn't need to save harder, she needed to see the whole picture. No levers were necessary. Now let's take Mark and Julie, a couple, both 56 who want 40 grand between them. Their number on paper looks brutal. 40,000 times 25 is £1 million. Their pots added together are projected at just 300,000. On paper, they're £700,000 short. It feels hopeless. But they've got two state pensions coming, around 25 grand between them. That alone is the equivalent of over £600,000 in the bank. So the real job for their own pots is 40,000 minus that 25,000 times 25, 375,000. They've got 300,000. The real gap isn't 700,000, 75,000. Now let me show you the levers, because a gap isn't a verdict, it's a set of choices. Mark and Julie are £75,000 short. Watch what happens when we start pulling levers. Lever 1, contributions. Between them, they put an extra £500 a month into their pensions for the 4 years until the 60. That's their money, but the taxman tops it up with their relief, and it has a few years to grow. Call it £30,000 added to their pot. The gap drops from 75 to 45. Lever 2, a little more time. Mark doesn't stop dead at 60. He goes part-time 62. Two things happen at once. His part-time wage covers some of the spending, so they draw less from the pot, and the pot gets 2 more years to grow before they lean in on it. That covers the £45,000 that's left. The gap's now 0, and Julie still managed to fully retire at 60. So what if Mark doesn't fancy working longer? Well, they can lean harder on lever 1 instead to close that whole gap through saving a loan to lift contributions from £500 a month to around £1,300 a month. That's their money going in. The taxman adds the relief on top, and over 4 years in the market, it fills the whole £75,000. It's a bigger squeeze on the monthly budget, but it buys them a full stop at 60. That's the trade. Save harder now or work harder longer. Their call, and notice that we didn't chase bigger returns or take more risk with their money. This close to retirement, that's the one lever you leave alone. Here's the point. These are made up numbers and everyone's situation is different, but the pattern almost never changes. The scary number is your spending times 25 before anything else. The real number is what's left once you discount the income you've already earned, the state pension, old workplace pensions, anything guaranteed. And once you can see the real gap, you're not staring at a wall. You're looking at levers. Save a bit more. Work a bit longer if you want to. You don't have to pull them all. You only need to know which ones are yours to pull. The single biggest red flag isn't necessarily a small pot, it's never checking them at all. If your honest answer to am I on track is I don't know, that's not a money problem, it's an information problem. It's the easiest one in the world to fix. You fix it the moment you run the 5 checks I've just given you. And notice which of the 5 you can actually control. Your number and your projection are mostly just facts you look up. Your guaranteed income and how much you save, they're dials you can turn up from today. You can't change the past, you can change what goes in from here. And when you choose to stop, so put your energy there. And if you do find a gap, don't panic. You found it where you can still do something about it. That's a win, not a disaster. You've got more levers than you think. A few more years of contribution, slightly later date, trimming the target a touch, or just drawing it more cleverly later on. Small moves stack up over the long run. They close surprisingly big gaps. So this week, run your gap, run your projected pot, and manage your number. Then make one change to your contributions to start closing that gap, just one. 5 minutes of honesty will save you years of guessing later on. Nobody hands you the on track. You check it and then you act on it. That's the bad news and the freedom in one breath because the dials are yours to turn. And honestly, the number's almost always less frightening than not knowing. So go and look. Before you go, the usual. This is general information, not advice, and your situation is your own. I make these because too many good people reach retirement quietly frightened when they were closer than they ever knew. I don't want that to be you. So if it held, please subscribe, leave a comment, and a like. I'm talking you through the whole road to retirement. I'd love to have you here with me for it. Then go and run your real gap, not the scary one. I think you'll be further along than you feared. Look after yourself. I'll see you in the next one.